Let's talk about the past. Many of us get stuck in our own past, just ruminating on previous failures and mistakes and how we could have done something different. And then you'll hear generic things like, just let it go, it's in the past, you can't change it, everything happens for a reason, and all this kind of bullshit advice that doesn't actually work. But the reason this is important to get right is because the danger of the past is that it will become your future unless you address it. If there's something that you're stuck on, that you're ruminating on, a pattern that keeps repeating, thoughts that you keep having, you have to face it head on and deal with it. There's no way of just putting it in some corner of your mind and trying to move on. You're only going to end up making it worse when eventually it's going to rise to the surface again and then you're just going to lose it. These things that happen in the past, especially the painful ones, they just ingrain into your subconscious and your soul to the point that every time you're in a similar situation, you're going to act the same way unless you're conscious of it. And the first thing you have to do is analyze your past. So literally take time, set it aside, and sit down with a blank piece of paper and just allow yourself to close your eyes and just drift off to the past. What are the things that keep coming up? What are the things you're ruminating on? What are the things that you're blaming yourself for or blaming as the reason that you're not where you want to be today? Is it a breakup you went through where you feel like you were wronged or you didn't show up as the person you want to be and you're embarrassed or ashamed of that? Is it something that a parent said to you that maybe they don't even remember, but it got to you, you took it to heart, and you adopted it as a sign of who you are? Is it a missed opportunity that you wish you had again, or is it some kind of regret? What is the thing? You have to identify it. You have to bring it to light and just face it head on. Don't be afraid and don't be ashamed. Don't sugarcoat what happened. You really have to face it head on, exactly how you remember it, exactly how it's hurting you. You have to see it in all its ugliness. I'll give you an example of one of my own, which is my experience with bullying. If you've seen my other channels or some of my other videos, this has come up before. But basically, for a brief time growing up, my family and I were in a pretty rough neighborhood when I was in, it must have been the fourth or the fifth grade. And I dealt with some bullying, not just to myself, but indirectly, kind of seeing it happen. And of course, the memories that are most memorable are the ones where I was directly involved. So we'll use that as an example. For a long time, this experience bothered me a ton, even subconsciously. It's not like I was thinking about it all day, but it formed certain parts of my identity that I just accepted as truth, whether it was what other people were saying or how I felt during those years. And then all these things that I accepted as the truth, I just accepted as my identity. And then, of course, it affected the way that I was showing up, the way that I was acting long after this stuff was already done. And the thing that really bothered me about that experience, other than the stuff that was said to me that I accepted as truth, was the fact that I became what I hated. I became what I was victimized by. Because what's a common reaction to bullying? You kind of minimize yourself, you try and stay out of the way. And another thing that you might do is if they find someone else to bully, you're almost elated. You're like, well, thank God, now I'm not the target. And then what do? You join in. You start doing exactly what made you feel awful to another person just to not be the victim of it. And that was the main part of that experience that I carried with me for years and years. The guilt, the feeling of being a complete asshole for doing that, taking the easy way out, being a coward. And if I think about how it started to materialize in my life several years after the fact, it looked like this. Self-sabotage. Oh, there's an opportunity for me to have success at something that I say I want consciously. Let me go ahead and sabotage this because I don't deserve it. I'm a piece of shit because I did that thing and I feel guilty about it. So I'm just going to get in my own way and prevent this from happening. Passiveness, feeling like, well, it's not going to work out for me anyways, so why even try? Kind of like a learned helplessness. Massive insecurity in the types of people I would interact with or allow into my life in the form of relationships, or the types of behavior I would tolerate, because my self-image of myself was so low that I was like, yeah, this makes sense. This is kind of all I deserve. And these are just some of the things that applied to this specific example. And that's kind of the next part. After you analyze what it is that's bothering you and exactly what happened, you need to connect it to how you're acting today, how you see yourself today, how it's affecting your life today, and see directly in front of you on paper how the past is affecting you now, how those thoughts and those memories and that self-image and the resulting change in your behaviors, how that's affecting you now. Now, the next thing is going to be belief. You have to install this belief into the deepest parts of your mind. This is what I found really works for me. Everything is happening for me as a gift from God. Now, at first, obviously, this is going to be hard to believe, especially if you're having a rough time. But I don't care what it takes. Repeat it to yourself, meditate on it. Over time, you just install this belief in your mind. Every single time something good happens in your life, you say, oh, hey, look at that. Everything is happening in my favor. It's a gift from God. Every time something seemingly bad happens, but like a year from now, it works out for the best. Oh, hey, look at that. More proof. And you keep doing that until you genuinely believe it in your bones. And what that leads to is it allows you to reframe the past. You're not going to forget about the past. It's there. You're not going to be able to change it. It's in the past. The only two options you really have is leave it as is and give it power over you, or choose to reframe it on your own terms and take power over it. And what this looks like is understanding and forgiving, whether it's yourself or some other subject from a past event. It's going into their shoes or your shoes in that version of yourself and understanding where they were coming from, giving them the benefit of the doubt, and ultimately forgiving them. Much easier said than done, but again, this framework has worked so well for me. I really encourage you to try it. So back to my example, it was like, well, hey, you know what? Yes, I didn't do the right thing there, and I'm not proud of it, but let's take a look for a second at why it might have happened or the situation that I was in. I was an insecure kid in this rough neighborhood. I was 9 or 10 years old, new to the school, new to the city, new to the country. I'd been having a rough go for months and months, and now finally they were backing off of me and going on to other people. And in that moment, in that fear, I decided that that's my opportunity. Let me get out of this victim role and join in as a way of preventing myself from being in that painful position that I just got out of. Doesn't make it right, doesn't make it any more pretty, but it does start to make a little bit more sense. Can I forgive that 9 or 10-year-old insecure kid who was probably doing the best with what he had, who didn't understand the concepts of courage, of kindness, of having a spine, of standing up for yourself and for other people, who didn't understand these things yet? Yeah, you know what? I probably can. And if it's too hard to forgive myself, maybe I can see him as a different individual, because technically 25-year-old me and 9-year-old me are technically different individuals. Or perhaps not technically. Technically we're the same, but practically speaking, for all intents and purposes, we are completely different individuals. And then the interesting thing was, when I applied this framework to all those people that had bullied me, it was the same thing. All that anger I held towards them, all that feeling of being victimized, it all kind of dissipated away over time, because I was like, you know what? Let me understand these people. No one just comes out the womb bullying other people. Maybe they have a rough home life. Maybe they had these kind of experiences growing up. Maybe they have abusive parents. I don't know, but I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and assume that that's why it's happening. And then because I decide to see it that way, I'm going to choose to forgive, not because they deserve it, not because maybe that younger version of myself deserved it, but I'm going to choose to forgive because I'm in charge now. I have the power to make that decision. Do I want to give this thing power over me, or do I want to take control and use it for me? Because again, everything is happening for me as a gift from God, and I choose to be in control. And don't get caught up in the nuances. You can call these things whatever you like. You don't believe in God, call it the universe. If you're not quite there yet where you can understand and forgive whoever or whatever it was in your past that's bothering you, fine, don't worry about it. Take the selfish approach. Be like, you know what, I'm just going to take power over this thing and just brute force my way through it, and then maybe revisit it at a later time. The point is back to that choice. Is it my power? Do I have power over this thing? Or are we giving it power to control me? Maybe I can't change what happened in the past, but in the present, I can decide on one of those two things, and I would recommend that you choose to take power over it. And then finally, the last part of the process that's the most productive for yourself in the present and to change your future is to extract the lesson and burn the fuel. So, what did I learn from it? Well, I learned not to be a spineless coward. I learned to stand up for myself, for other people. I learned to do the hard thing. I learned to always do the right thing, even if it is the harder thing. I learned that temporary pain doing the right thing is much better than temporary pleasure doing the wrong thing. I learned that when someone is down, you should help them up instead of putting them down further to make yourself feel better. I learned that we're all flawed human beings with our own stories playing in our heads and our own backgrounds that we come from that contribute to the actions we take and the way we show up. And then I'm going to burn the fuel. What's the fuel? The fuel is the pain from that experience. The shame, the guilt, the sense of failure, the sense of missed opportunity, regret. All of that pain, I'm going to burn that pain. I'm going to use it as motivation. When the past inevitably pops up in my head, instead of quickly trying to suppress it, I'm going to say, okay, it's popping up again. What did I decide on again? Oh, that's right. I'm going to burn it as fuel, and I'm going to apply those lessons. Because again, there's only so many things you have control over it. That's why it doesn't work to just suppress the past and try to forget about it. It's going to pop up when it's going to pop up. But when it does, you choose to take power over it and decide, I'm going to extract the lessons, apply them, and I'm going to burn the fuel to move forward. And once I burn that fuel and I have that additional motivation and drive, I'm going to force the past to work for me. I'm going to burn that fuel towards being the individual that I want to be. Maybe I wasn't that guy in the past, But now I know who I want to be. Now I'm in a better position. I'm going to use all that motivation and that drive to become that person. You felt weak in the past, use it to go to the gym and get stronger and get better. You felt like you weren't enough or you didn't have any confidence in the past, burn that fuel to take the necessary actions to turn you into the person you'd like to be now. How do I apply this? That experience in that city ended up being the very foundations of my medical school application, of my interview, of my reasoning for wanting to be a physician. Because I was like, because of that experience, whatever I end up doing with my life, I want to be in a position where I can help people in need. Because I've been that person that was in that position of need and I didn't get any. And I've been the person who, when other people needed help and were in a position of need, I did not act in their favor. So now let me use those things along with the lessons I learned, along with the fuel that I burn and the pain that's driving me towards good, productive action. And that's how I was able to study hard during college and do the MCAT and do all the volunteering and do what I needed to do to get into medical school and then eventually through medical school and residency and blah, blah, blah. It's because I decided to use this framework to alchemize a part of my past that before had power over me. And now I flipped it on its head and took power over it. And this, in my opinion, is how you get over the past and not only get over it, but use it for your own good and take power over it. It's not a perfect process. It's not as easy as these 5 steps or whatever that I've broken it down into. You're going to have setbacks. Sometimes it's going to win over you. And that's okay. That's part of the process. But the point is, you keep coming back, you keep trying again. And what you'll find is once you do these with 1, 2, 3, 4 different moments in your life, or certain events that happened, or certain ways that you showed up that you're not proud of, eventually, once this starts to work and you see the results of it, you're going to start looking forward to identifying these things from your past where you can decide to alchemize them and build them into something productive. If you look at the things I work on now, whether it's this platform or my many other ones that are based around the same thing, which is just teaching what I already have to learn to achieve success in the various areas of my life. That's what it boils down to when it comes to the different businesses that I do. All of that essentially comes from alchemizing the past. All of what I do is just serving a previous version of myself. It's just building what I wish that kid had, what that kid would have benefited from. And of course, along the way, if you guys find benefit from it, then that's great. But ultimately, if I had to boil it down, everything that I'm doing, it's just alchemizing the past, using it productively to build something that would have served that version of myself to become who I want to be. So try this out, guys. I think it's really going to help you. And I'll see you next time. All the best.